This proclamation is important, and I'm glad I want to thank colleagues for all being in support of this, and for Pro-Choice Maryland for helping to work with us on this. On January 22nd, that'll be the 49th anniversary of Roe versus Wade, nearly 50 years. And in 1973, when the Supreme Court passed this decision, this was for the first time in our nation's history, women had the right to make decisions about their health care, about their own bodies, about their own reproductive rights. And it's a shame. Fortunately, it shows you that you have to continue to fight for rights. They're never fully secured. You have to keep in the battle and the fight. We're seeing that with voting, and we're seeing it with women's bodies and reproductive health and their rights. They're literally fighting all over again. In October, the Supreme Court failed to block an anti-abortion law in Texas that allowed to stand. You have almost 13 copycat laws now allowing people to sue, private right of action, to compel a woman to do something with her body and to make a healthcare decision. A Mississippi law that halts abortions after 15 weeks, well before viability, have turned back the clock on this nearly 50-year precedent that has been one of the most important that the Supreme Court has passed. Before Roe v. Wade, many women had to make life and death decisions about going into alleys and damaging their bodies. And many of them lost their lives trying to make reproductive healthcare decisions. And we do not want to return to this, obviously, but these cases in Roe being in danger has put us on that brink. And so I thought it was important to recognize the importance of Roe as a precedent, as a civil rights precedent to protect the healthcare decisions and reproductive rights of women. And I really appreciate the Pro-Choice Maryland and Lily and her team and all of our great folks in this county who have been supporting it. I want to turn to them briefly. And well, let me read the proclamation. I'll follow your role, Council President, so that'll move us along. And then we can do the discussion from just a minute from each person. Proclamation of the Montgomery County Council. Whereas in a 7-2 decision in 1973, January, the U.S. Supreme Court recognized for the first time that the constitutional right to privacy is broad enough to encompass a woman's decision whether or not to terminate her pregnancy, making Roe v. Wade the settled law of the land for 49 years. And whereas we trust women will make the best decisions about their bodies, their families, and their futures. And whereas a woman's right to make her own decisions about her pregnancy deserves the highest level of constitutional protection. And a politicized Supreme Court should not choose to curb or restrict the constitutional rights of its citizens. And whereas we believe that reproductive health care is essential health care. And whereas it is no longer enough to merely acknowledge the historical significance of Roe v. Wade, we must continue to elevate the fight to preserve one of the most significant women's rights laws in American history. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the County Council of Montgomery County, Maryland hereby honors the 49th anniversary of Roe v. Wade, and be it further resolved that the County Council of Montgomery County hereby honors and acknowledges the significance of this historic event presented on this day, the 18th of January in the year 2022, signed by myself, the Council President, on behalf of all of our colleagues. Really appreciate you all being here today, and just want to turn it over briefly to Ms. Valerian and Ms. Argati.
Awesome. Well, good morning, and thank you so much, Councilmember Jawando, for sponsoring this proclamation. And thank you to all the esteemed members of the council for having me here today as we commemorate 49 years of Roe versus Wade, the law that enshrined the right to an abortion in the Constitution. My name is Lily Balorian, and I'm the Executive Director of Pro-Choice Maryland. On behalf of the membership of Pro-Choice Maryland, I'm honored to accept this proclamation recognizing 49 years of Roe. At Pro-Choice Maryland, we believe every person deserves the right to determine if, when, and how they parent. This includes ensuring folks have not only the legal right, but that they have access to the full range of abortion care. As we gather today, we sit on the precipice of the tainted Supreme Court's likely decision to gut federal Roe protections in the next few months. Any decision from the Supreme Court that weakens the protections of Roe will have absolutely devastating consequences for the communities we all care about, particularly for people of color, Black women specifically, as well as undocumented people, individuals with disabilities, gender nonconforming and transgender individuals, as well as poor people. While, of course, the County Council does not have the ability to overturn a Supreme Court decision, today's proclamation is an important example of local action that can be taken to highlight our rights to abortion access and reproductive justice locally, if only our elected officials are willing to lead, as Councilmember Jawando did today. May this proclamation commit all of us to continued action and vigilance on the importance of protecting abortion rights and access in this county, state, and country. I look forward to working with the council in the future to ensure that Montgomery County remains a pro-abortion access county, regardless of what the Supreme Court decides. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lily. Ms. Argati, on behalf of the Commission on Women.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. My name is Isabel Argati. I'm here on the Montgomery County Commission for Women, sitting in for Donna Rojas, our chair, and the rest of the executive committee, and also accompanied by Jody Finkelstein here, executive director. The role of the Commission for Women is really to improve the lives of girls and women in the county, and one of our priorities is health. So thank you so much for bringing this to light. It couldn't be more timely. And as Lily really explained, there's a lot of things going on. And even 40 years later, we're still fighting to keep this right and make sure that women have access to safe and affordable healthcare, and really codify that. And so right now, actually, we are supporting the abortion access bill, which hopefully keeps this right in the state of Maryland. It ensures that women have access to affordable and the safe procedure, but also improves and trains more professionals to be able to give this procedure safely. With initiatives like this, educational events, legislation, we're really ending the stigma around abortion in our community, which is super needed. We really want to make sure that women are empowered for their bodies and themselves to take the appropriate actions and steps, and hopefully with our help. Lastly, I do want to invite everyone to our Women's Legislative Briefing, because conversations like this do not end here. We are going to continue talking about women's health and many other challenges. And so at the end of the month, on Sunday, January 29th, we'll be talking about how voting women can change everything, along with many other issues, challenges that women face in our society. And so I hope you join us there. But thank you so much for Councilmember Jawando and the rest of the council for bringing this today here.
Thank you very much. And I'll turn it over to our council president. I know we want to allow at least one of our colleagues to speak.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you all so much for this important proclamation. And now I'd like to turn it over to a tremendous leader and the only woman on this council, Councilmember Navarro, to make some important comments as well. Councilmember Navarro.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I want to thank Ms. Argoti and Ms. Valerian and Ms. Finkelstein for your extraordinary track record of work in this space. This is a county council that has a history of always standing up for women's rights, especially when it comes to reproductive justice. And as you have all eloquently stated, it seems like the more things change, the more they stay the same, and the more that we have to continue to fight. It is clear, especially today with everything that we're going through with this pandemic, that sometimes it is hard to focus on all the things that are occurring, but this is a major threat and very important that the awareness is raised. No woman ever wants to be faced with this particular choice. This idea that somehow this is something that everyone just wants to do, it is absolutely false. But the reality is that we need to make sure that women have the ability and the right to determine what is in the best interest of her health and her body. And this is absolutely critical. So I want to thank you all for all this work. Yes, 49 years, but we must continue to fight and fight real hard. Thank you so much. Thank you, Councilmember Jawando, for bringing this forward.
Thank you, Mr. President.
This was an important moment, and Ms. Finkelstein, thank you and the Commission for all your continued leadership and work. We appreciate you all so much.